We're right back to where we were when the country got all this disclosure in the 70s, Watergate happened, all this stuff happened. And then coming out of that, we sort of got amnesia. And this is sort of the other part of the political game, is you wait long enough and you can play the game again. And that's exactly what's happening. These institutions have waited long enough, and now there's enough latitude, enough secrecy, and enough cover to evaluate and develop technologies essentially with virtually no oversight. And then once the technologies are fully available and deployable, then you have some national crisis like 9/11 that allows you to bring them out of the closet and use them when otherwise you'd never have a prayer. In fact, the military actually put papers together with U.S. Army War College back in the 80s, and I mentioned them before, the Revolution in Military Affairs and Conflict Short of War. And it was this whole paper, and it was about the idea that all these new technologies were coming forward, but they violated the Constitution, they violated due process, and so instead of saying, okay, we can't do them, they're off limits, which you would hope and the bureaucracy would recognize, instead it was, all right, well, how do we create enough fear in the population so they'll let us do it, so they'll suspend their judgment? And it became the article that went on to describe the idea of using fear or international terrorism as the vehicle for bringing those technologies forward. And I think that's unfortunate because, again, it's using the wrong tool to transform the country. Fear and anxiety and worry are what brings Adolf Hitler's into reality.
And it backfires eventually, doesn't it? It
always does, because it's external stimulation doesn't last. Things for real change, it has to be intrinsic, inside each of us, with us driving that truck, with us making those judgments and those decisions, with each individual sorting out what's right and true and then acting on it, not through fear and anger and propaganda, but through logic, persuasion, and the higher emotions that are organized and associated with higher ordered thinking and higher states of human consciousness, which include the emotions of love and compassion and empathy, among others.